Good evening, bonsoir, bienvenue à la séance ordinaire du 5 février. Je vais demander à tous de se lever pour l'hymne national. On va prendre le moment pour faire une reconnaissance territoriale. Nous reconnaissons avec respect l'emplacement de la ville de Bathurst en tant que terre ancestrale du peuple Micmac. Aujourd'hui, ces terres sont hôtes d'une population diverse, comprenant personnes natives du territoire et autres patries. Nous reconnaissons aussi avec respect l'histoire et les diverses cultures du peuple Micmac de la région. Territorial acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the city of Bathurst as the ancestral homeland of the Micmac. Today, these lands are homes to a diverse population of indigenous and other peoples. We also acknowledge with respect the diverse history and cultures of the Micmac in this region. Okay. We will go to the adoption of the agenda.
That the agenda be approved as presented.
All right, may I have okay, so we'll go with Councillor Branch and Councillor Legacy second. Ready for the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Est-ce que nous avons des déclarations de conflit d'intérêt, Mme Parker?
Aucun conflit d'intérêt déclaré.
Parfait. On va aller à l'approbation du procès verbal, séance ordinaire publique tenue le 15 janvier 2024.
Que le procès verbal de la séance ordinaire publique datée du 15 janvier 2024 soit approuvé comme distribué.
Parfait. Est-ce que je peux avoir quelqu'un pour proposer? Conseiller Scary, appuyé par conseiller Leblanc. Après la question, tu en faveur signifiant en disant oui? Oui. Contre? Motion adoptée. So we are going to public and administration presentations. So we have East Coast Adventure Co. by Christine Neville. Christine, hi.
Hi.
How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So you do have the mic. And you can speak the language of your choice. We do have simultaneous translation.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. Just wait for it to pop up here.
Go. Yep, coming. Okay.
Sweet. And maybe full size. It's not offering. We'll do it this way.
Okay.
I would like to start by saying thank you all for having me. It's hopefully going to be a few minutes of forgetting about the weather outside and remembering summertime and what is to come as I present my business, East Coast Adventure Co. Okay, at least I can change the page.
Yeah.
Just gonna go over here.
That helps. Perfect. So as we know, the U-Haul Beach Park is very popular, very well frequented and visited by our local community as well as tourists all the time. And you can ask the staff there as well as the lifeguards. A very common question is, do you have anything we can use? Can we use your paddleboards? Can we use your kayaks? Do you have a beach ball? The next most asked question is, when is the canteen opening? Do you have water bottles? Do you have sunscreen? Do you have anything that we forgot at home or to entertain the kids? And the answer's been no. The answer's been no for a while, but I think it's time that we change that. And the solution to that would be by doing rentals. So East Coast Adventure Company has a large fleet of kayaks, paddle boards, bike ball, volleyballs, lots of awesome stuff to keep the whole family, like all ages, involved and immersed in their time at the U-Haul Beach Park, as well as canteen services. So, you know, we get thirsty at the beach, we forget our sunscreen. We need a solution, so I'd like to offer canteen services through the canteen building that is there. Who we are as a business is just as important to me as what we are as a business, and most importantly, we are local. We are from Bathurst. We are Leave No Trace Canada partners. That means that we are very eco-conscious. They're the 7 principles of responsible outdoorsmanship, and we live by those. We preach those, and we practice them. We also are very affordable. I believe that's very important in this community, especially is to be affordable and accessible to our local people first, and tourists as well. So our average price is $16.70 for a 1-hour rental. Those prices get lower as you get into longer rentals, just hourly by, of course, yeah. We are ready to make more happen. So we can see in this rendering from Photoshop that we can offer walking groups, we can offer spike ball, volleyball, paddle boards, kayaks. We can fill the beach with our business alone. And I think that is very important to have those offerings. This is a fun slide. This is who I am as the founder of the business. My name is Kristen. I am a BHS graduate from 2021 and now an NBCC Business Management graduate. I don't believe that business experience is enough to be successful, but passion. And I've spent 2 summers working at the U-Haul Beach, so I know there is this need. There are these asks. There are these really important, forgotten things that people don't realize they want until it's in front of them even, but they know they want it now. My goal, and I believe my purpose in life, is to share the outdoors with everyone, the seasoned outdoorsman and the child that doesn't know the right way to hold a paddle. But I want to be there for everyone to make them have these experiences and take these first steps and these 100th time kayak runs in our community. If their paddle board is back in BC, but they're here now, let's get them on our water and tell them why they want to be here. So of course, this has all been lovely, who I am, what the business is, but how to make that happen? I need to be able to use the canteen building at the U-Haul Beach Park, and I believe it would be possible from conversations I've had with Ryan and with Chris for this to be done at no cost, to keep my prices low and accessible and available and be able to offer free programs such as walking groups, sand toys. Even if you can't afford a trip to the beach, you should be able to enjoy the beach to its fullest. And in return, I would love to offer these activities from June until September at the long weekend at the earliest to close, because we know the weather has stayed warm until mid-September, late September even. And I want to have the availability for people at all times to come and enjoy our area. And of course, I'll offer these affordable canteen services, give access to the city's beach accessibility chairs, which I think are a wonderful program and would be great to get more people knowing about them, coming to the area to be using them, and know that there's someone there to open the door to that shed and let them in and bring it out to them so they can be safe and be using it properly. And of course, I can open and close those washroom facilities down at the beach at any time that I am there. So, yeah, that is my ask. That's the end of my presentation. Of course, I'm welcome to any questions that you may have, and I'm happy to answer them.
Perfect. So we do have a few questions. Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Thanks for your presentation. I like your enthusiasm.
Thank you.
Good for you. Right now, do you have other people working with you in order to keep this open, like the number of hours that you're talking about?
Honestly, I don't need to drink coffee because I'm like this all the time, and I'm ready to be like this all the time throughout the summer and just keep things running at all hours of the night, all hours of the day, be behind it and keep it going. Ideally, I've been looking into the SEED program to be able to hire a student from our area to work with us over the summer, but at this time it is just me.
Okay. Madam Mayor, another question
Absolutely.
to our city manager. Is there anybody that's using that canteen now that would be in conflict, or that we would have to put out like a tender or something to allow this to be offered by other people too?
I think Your Worship will go to Mr. Wilbur, who's in charge of our park facilities.
Mr. Wilbur.
Thank you, Your Worship. The last few summers, any operation that's happened out of the canteen has been provided by city staff. So there hasn't been, to my knowledge, a private operator out of that facility in quite some time.
Good. Yeah, sounds interesting.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Conseiller Leblanc.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. Thank you, Kristen. And yes, I do love your enthusiasm. I do have a couple of questions, though. So you talk about running a lot of programs here, and but you say it's only you in this adventure so far.
Yeah.
If you're going to run a canteen,
Yeah, so of course I will have some volunteer help from my parents, friends, family who have the time to come and spend in the canteen while I'm helping someone bring down a kayak to the water. But with there only being one location, I'm quite frankly not concerned with having to be in too many places at once. I can run pretty fast.
on your canteen, are you looking to cook food, or is it just going to be pre-made food?
No, I'd be looking at having prepackaged snacks and Gatorade water bottles, fresh fruit. Yeah.
Okay. So you're not looking for anything like the city? Basically, the only thing we'd have to do is upkeep the facilities, no inventory, no employee expenses, anything of that concern? Okay. All right. Thank you. That's it.
So did you create this business?
I did.
Yeah.
Over my time at NBCC, we've got to perfect it. I'm working with Planet Hatch, which is similar to the CBDC.
Yes.
And they've helped me along the way as well. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
For a young graduate from NBCC and starting your own business, you're going to go far. You're going to go very far to have the drive and the energy that you have now. Good for you.
Thank you.
We do have Councillor Legacy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one final question. I'm not sure who to direct this to exactly, but I saw that the kayaks and paddle boards, will you be requiring storage space, and do we have that in the building currently?
Oh.
So I would be willing to trailer in the kayaks and paddle boards for the day and store them on my own premise. So I do not need space to store the boats at the beach. I will be using the canteen to store the food items and that, of course.
Okay.
That answers your question?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we will follow up with you.
Yeah.
And Ms. Parker will probably be in contact with you soon.
Would it be possible to know within the past 2 weeks, or is that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay,
You
perfect.
should be able to get something.
Great.
Yes.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
You're welcome. It's nice to see our young, to see them flourishing and becoming entrepreneurs. On a une présentation pour 495 Riverside Drive par Monsieur Marc Bouffard. Monsieur Bouffard.
So thank you, Your Worship. So, in response to a number of questions and comments raised at the last meeting, we thought it would be useful to explain the project in its proper context and in relation with the zoning provision that apply to the property in question and to the surrounding area. So in the proposal submitted by the applicant, the words the project is mentioned as a student residence. The word student is mentioned 7 times, and there is no reference to any other type of housing or tenants. The words used by the applicant is student residence. The proposal came with the following elevation and floor plans. So the elevation plan, you see the 2 wings, the roof on the 2 wings, over 2 wings will be raised. And you have, on this slide, you have the floor plan for the basement. So it shows 2 large kitchens, 1 dining room, storage and laundry room for the students, a secretary room, and a game room, a TV room, common room, and 6 bathrooms. So this is the basement where the common area will be located. Here you have the floor plan for the first and second floor. It shows 32 bedrooms, 34 beds, 2 bathrooms on each floor, and if you want the floor plan, this floor plan is similar to other type of residential facilities such as special care home, where you have bedrooms and you have common rooms. This map here is used to show the existing land use in the area, so how the land is being used right now by the various property owners. So as you can appreciate, the land use in this area is mixed. You have the subject property that was formerly occupied by the DNR office, Department of Natural Resources. The area in yellow represent low density residential area that contains 1 and 2 family units. So this is many properties in this area are used for low residential. We also have some medium density residential area in orange. We have where apartment buildings are located. We have some on Riverside Drive. We have 2 apartment buildings there. We have apartment building on Chalmers Court, College Road, and University Drive. Of course, there are 2 large institutional properties, one occupied by the Superior School, and of course, you have the CCNB campus, where you have collegial and university faculties. In this area, we also have some care home and senior citizen home in blue, including Villa Chaleur and 2 residences on Hornibrook Court and Queen Street. In front of the subject property, we have the mini home park, and finally, we have some commercial properties, including some large area at the intersection of Queen and Riverside Drive, and we have the Via Rail properties. So this map shows the existing land use, and it shows that the land use in this area is mixed, quite mixed, or diversified. We have a few aerial photography if you need to use them after the presentation. Yeah. So for the purpose of this presentation, I think it is appropriate to explain and define the meaning of family and household as defined in the zoning bylaw of the City of Bathurst. So it must be understood that each residential unit in Bathurst may be occupied by a family or household defined as follows. You have single person, you have 2 or more people living together as husband and wife with their own children, and it may also include a foster family keeping 4 foster children with them placed by the province. A family is also defined as not more than 4 related or unrelated persons who are living together with the person occupying a dwelling as paying lodger or boarders. Also, a family or household is defined as a group of not more than 5 unrelated persons. So, by definition, each residential unit in Bathurst may contain a rooming house with 4 boarders. This is a copy of the zoning map, the official zoning map, that also reflects the existing mixity of land use that we saw on the previous slide. The various use permitted under the zoning bylaw are explained in more detail in the following slides. So, the subject property, the property in question is zone institutional, which permit a wide range of land use, including various types of group residence such as nursing home, senior citizen home, group home that are explained on the next slide, and also various land use including educational building, hospital, library, municipal building, religious building, commercial daycare, government building, etc. So as you can appreciate, on this property, as of today, all those uses, including those type of residents, will be permitted use without a rezoning. As I mentioned, the previous one, group home are permitted, and later in the zoning bylaw, we defined what are group homes. So group home are institutional residents providing cares to persons with social, health, emotional, mental, or physical handicap and problem. So those type of residents are permitted today on this property. Next, in the area, we also have R2 zone. They are defined as single and 2 unit dwellings. The permitted use in those zones in red, shown in red on the zoning map, are 1 or 2 unit dwelling or semi-detached building, apartment, house if you want. As secondary use, a home business is permitted, so the zoning bylaw defines a wide range of business that are permitted in those residential area as home business, and we have some conditional use that are permitted, including granny flats and neighborhood daycare. The zoning bylaw also includes some density, some target density for each type of residential zone. If the land was zoned, if the property in question was zoned R2, it would be possible to have 16 units in 8 dwellings. That will be permitted under the current under the zoning bylaw for R2 zones. R3 zones in yellow on the zoning map. So R3 zones in the zoning bylaw corresponds to medium density residential. If it was zone R3, the subject property could contain 48 units based on the density of 82 units per hectares. In the R3 zones that we have in the surrounding area, the following main use are permitted: 1 or 2 unit dwellings, apartment dwellings, buildings up to 16 units. Townhouse are permitted, including parks, playground, recreational field, and swimming pools. In those property, in those areas, home business are also permitted as a home business. And finally, as conditional use, boarding and rooming house, tourist home, inn, bed and breakfast are permitted in those yellow area that you have on the zoning map. Other use permitted as commercial use include commercial daycare, group home, nursing home, neighborhood commercial use on the ground floor of, or basement, and community and resource center. So all those uses are permitted in the vicinity of the subject property. As I mentioned, boarding house and rooming house, bed and breakfast are permitted as conditional use, but they come with their own development standards. So Section 3.9 of the zoning bylaw defines or outlines the development standards for a bed and breakfast, for a boarding house, for a rooming house. Where they are permitted, they shall be located in a single unit dwelling. The operator must live there. A maximum of 10 persons, including family members of the operators, are permitted in the dwelling, and you need to have 1 parking space per bedroom. So, in conclusion, the student residence is not a boarding or rooming house as defined. These are 2 different things. We also have some commercial properties zoned in this area at the intersection of Queen and Riverside Drive. They are zoned general commercial, and in those zones, a wide range of commercial use are permitted, including car dealers, gas bar, gas station, financial institution, call center, funeral home, hotels, motel, restaurants, shopping mall or shopping center, theater, etc. So all the use that you have on that slide are permitted in the general commercial area at the corner, at the intersection of Queen and Riverside. So the intent of that is to show you all the uses that are permitted in the area of the property in question. The NB Summit on Housing that took place in 2023 did recognize the lack of housing for post-secondary students, both on campus and off campus. According to the report and to other reports, the development of student housing will help to free up conventional apartments that are also needed by other families and households in the community. So this is the report that came after the summit that took place in New Brunswick. So there is a section that deals specifically with student housing. I have outlined, so for example, it says that post-secondary students in New Brunswick are experiencing housing difficulties when looking for housing that are geared at their needs. So basically, again, it's a fact there is a need for student housing, not just in Bathurst, but in many other communities across New Brunswick. We also found some guiding principles applicable to student housing. One of them was issued by the Supreme Court of Canada that ruled that municipalities could not regulate who could live together in a residence based on their relationship to one another. But also, a few years ago, the City of Oshawa asked the Ontario Human Rights Commission to provide guidelines for student housing. The Ontario Human Rights Commission ruled that students are a protected class of person under the Ontario Human Rights Code. And the same principle will apply for sure in New Brunswick. In more details, the Ontario Human Rights Commission communicate the following principle to the City of Oshawa. They ruled that students could be considered part of a code-protected group if they are treated differently from other based on or age. People should not be able to live. People should be able to live in the community of their choice without discrimination. People do not have the right to choose their neighbors. And also, we heard a lot, some people have some concerns about noise or other issue. The board or the Ontario Human Rights Commission ruled that zoning bylaw should not be used to regulate behavior. There are existing bylaws in the community such as noise and property standards bylaw that could be used to address any behavior issue, if any, if it happens. So the rezoning that is proposing, the rezoning that we propose is done under Section 59 of the Community Planning Act. So under that section, council may impose reasonable conditions concerning the use of land, building, and structure, conditions about the site layout and design, including parking areas, landscaping, entry and exit ways, condition about the external design, appearance, and spacing of building and structure, any other matters that you deem necessary, and the time limit to complete the development. If land, building, or structure is developed or used contrary to the agreement, or the developer fails to meet the prescribed time limits, the council may cancel the agreement and the land shall revert to its previous zoning. So this is a very powerful tool in the Community Planning Act that when you rezone, you have the right to put condition, and those conditions, if they are not followed, council has the right to cancel the rezoning. So those conditions were reviewed by the Planning Advisory Committee by the Planning Advisory Committee at the last meeting, and again, those conditions are attached to the zoning bylaw. They will be registered with the bylaw and they form part of the zoning bylaw. So I'm going to read those conditions. So the first condition, it will be permitted to develop a student residence in the main building on the parcel in addition to the other use permitted in the institutional zone. So basically, as I did explain at the last meeting, what is permitted today in the institutional zone remain, but in addition to that, it will be also permitted to develop a student residence. The new zoning bylaw includes a definition of what is a student residence. So a student residence means a residence with single or double rooms intended solely for students enrolled in a post-secondary institution on the CCNB campus. The residence must also include shared sanitary, culinary, and social facilities. So this definition will be added to the existing zoning bylaw. The existing accessory building must remain accessory to the main building, so the use of that building for another use is no longer in question. So that building will remain an accessory building to the existing main building. There will be a condition that the residence shall contain a maximum of 34 residents in 32 bedrooms. The Planning Advisory Committee recommend that there shall be a proctor to ensure discipline and report to the owner if necessary, and a student residence may occupy this function. Another condition is that the applicant shall provide a written document describing the means that will be taken to ensure and guarantee that the residence will be occupied solely by students enrolled in a post-secondary institution on the CCNB campus. Another condition, the only residential use permitted are a student residence and a nursing home, a senior citizen home, or a group home that are already permitted in the existing institutional zone. But for greater certainty, it will be attached to the condition that a rooming house, boarding house, and tourist home are not permitted use on the parcel. There will be also a site plan attached to the conditions to the bylaw. So there are different areas shown on the site plan if the land is developed for a student residence. So the parcel shall be developed in accordance with the site plan attached to the bylaw. If the parcel is developed for student residence, PAC approval is required to change the perimeter of the landscape area in the front in green. So it has to remain an open space with greens, with grass and trees. For example, if they want to put parking there, that will not be permitted. They will also require PAC approval to change the existing surface of the parking area or the existing driveways. There are 2 driveways right now to the properties, and those driveways has remained as is. And also the footprint of the 2 existing buildings shall remain as is, unless they get the approval from the PAC. Also, any development that, in the opinion of the planning department, varies the site plan shall be approved by the PAC. So again, this is the language of the conditions attached to the bylaw. The student residence must be developed within 24 months, otherwise the parcel reverts back to its current zoning. The building shall, or the residence shall comply with the National Building Code and other regulations, including those applicable to barrier-free design. So this is for people that may have a disability. It must be accessible, and the code will determine how many units or room must be available to people with a disability. The owner shall obtain all required authorization from the Department of Environment and Local Government. Since the property is near the basin, we make it clear that a water course, a WAWA permit, will be required for any work within 30 meters of the top of the bank. We don't have to put it there because this is a provincial law, but we prefer to add it to the conditions so everybody understands the existing regulation, not just for at the state level, but also at the provincial level. For the rest, all other zoning provisions applicable to the institutional zone continue to apply to any used building or structure on this parcel. The parcel and any building or structure on it shall not be developed or used except in accordance with this conditional rezoning agreement. So, again, this is all the conditions attached to the bylaw. They are written in a more legal language, if you want, in the bylaw, but this is a summary of those conditions. So the next step, February 16 is the deadline to submit written objection or support. February the 20th, there will be a public hearing. Council will hear people who send their objections in writing. And at that time, Council may proceed with the first and second reading of the bylaw. On February the 26th, Council will adopt the conditions attached to the bylaw, following by the adoption of the bylaw. And the bylaw comes into force when filed in the registry office. So that's my presentation.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Bouffard. On va aller aux questions. We'll go to questions. Councillor Burnett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Bouffard, for your presentation. There's a lot to absorb all at once. And I want to thank you for being here for this, because I know you stepped into the department just lately and you had this thrown on your desk in order to get everything put together. So congratulations for putting together a very good presentation, and thanks for being there for this. But I have some questions. One or two, or you want to go around, or
go ahead, Councillor.
Okay,
Burnett.
thank you. This was supposed to be presented, I thought, on February the 20th, which was mentioned at the last meeting, and yet here we are tonight looking at it. Are all concerned here tonight that, or had a chance to come here tonight, that were here last meeting, and I don't know if I see the proponents here tonight for this, and are the citizens that are concerned, were they given ample notice that this would be on the agenda this evening?
Mr. Burnett, I can answer that one. It's going to be presented again on the 20th.
On the 20th.
Tonight, for this, it's going to be presented, what's presented this evening, it's going to be presented again on the 20th. The reason why we presented it again this evening is for council, because presenting it and having to go to first and second reading right away is a lot to digest. So we brought this to council, we brought this to the public. On the 20th, we come back, and the same presentation is done, and anybody that missed the meeting will be able to be here on the 20th.
Thank you very much. The next one, I saw a room that said security. Is there going to be security living in this building?
No. What we understand, there is no security, but they may have, I understand that there will be cameras in the building, and they may have a room for that, for the equipment, but the recommendation made by the planning committee is to have a proctor, as it is the case in many student residence, if the proctor is a good word.
Yeah, proctor.
They are a student that is appointed to supervise, if you want, the floor and revert back to call the owner or the operator if necessary. But we are told by the applicant that there will be no security or no personnel as such in the premises.
So there won't be an adult there to oversee the whole situation. And these are young people. I mean, young people are young people. They're going to do what young people do when they're away from home, and they have a chance to let loose a little bit. We see it in other university towns and in other communities where they have schools with residences, that there's a connection to the school, so that if you do have one bad apple or two or three or whatever, that the connection to the school means that they don't only get put out of their residence, they get put out of the school. So is there any provision like this, that if somebody causes grief to the whole neighborhood, that they would not only get put out of the home, but the school, to show that there's a lot of seriousness to having 34 young people in one building?
So, of course, the applicant, the owner, will be in a position to answer this question. He will be invited at the next meeting to explain how he intends to operate the business. But also, one condition, again, we'd like to have it in writing before it is adopted, that to have guarantee that the residence will be occupied only by students attending or enrolled in the school.
The other question I have is, if they say there's only going to be 34 allowed, and who's going to check this number, 34? Do we, the city, have to have one of people from planning go into this building and count the numbers that are there and then let us know if they're following the regulations, or who's going to be responsible for that?
I think the answer is a bylaw. We have a bylaw officer, so if we have doubt, if we have reason to believe that the premises or the house or the student residence is not used as expected by council in the conditions, so the bylaw officer may have the right to go talk to the owner or the applicant, ask them to verify if it is used in conformity with those conditions. If not, then he will report back to council, and council may have at this time could have the opportunity to revoke the rezoning. But it will be done if you have good reason to believe that, like any residence or any use in Bathurst, when you suspect or when you have good reason to believe that it is used in violation to an existing bylaw, then you have your bylaw enforcement officer to inspect and to make a report.
To me, that would be quite a position to have, quite a responsibility to go in there. And do we have to rewrite the job description of that person in the planning so that he could go in there and do this, to check the numbers and check the situation as to cleanliness, etc.? Do we have to change the wording of the bylaw officer's job?
I'll go to Mr. Pettigrew.
Thank you, Worship. They have authority under their appointment to enter on buildings and premises. I mean, there's a protocol they'll follow, but it's no different than any other condition. I mean, our bylaw enforcement officer is fairly busy, spends a fair amount of time investigating and inspecting residences, buildings, commercial establishments, etc., for violations if there's a complaint brought forward. So that falls within his role and mandate. So.
Thank you. The other question I have is fire security, I guess. Does the fire marshal have to go in and approve this?
Absolutely, all of that has to be approved.
Exactly. One condition is that it has to be built according to the building code, fire code. So when the times come, those plans will be reviewed by the people responsible, fire marshal, the building inspector, and so it has to be built. It has to meet the requirements of the code. So this is not a zoning issue; it's a building code issue that will be dealt with when the times come. And it is my understanding that the plans are done by an architect. So those people, they know the codes, the applicable codes that apply to such facility.
Thank you. My last question would be on parking. 34 people living there. Is there 34 parking spots? Because I see a lot of students around with these little cars that are coming in now from Quebec, for example, a lot of plates from away. So we have a lot of students from away. So is there an ample parking for all that, which could mean a lot of traffic?
Again, we believe that the existing parking will be more than sufficient because we do not believe that all students have a car. There are ratio. I did some research in other communities, and it's not one car, one space per bed. They are lesser ratio because not all students they have car. In fact, the intent is to the location. We expect them to walk to the campus, to the college, or to downtown. But as you can see, there's a lot of room on this property to add additional parking if necessary. The only requirement will be they will need to get approval, the PAC approval, to change the layout of the parking space. So, but land is not an issue. This land is over 1.5 acres. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 1.5. And if you look at the existing open space that remain, there is enough sufficient space for additional parking if needed. But they need to have the PAC approval.
Thanks for your patience, Madam Mayor, and thanks, Mr. Bouvard, for your
You're
patience and the
welcome.
answers you've given me.
Yep.
Thank you.
I can tell you that when the Multicultural Association got their permit to have a daycare, that was one of the buildings we looked at. There's so much money to be put in that building, even if we were to do a daycare, that we financially, like the investment that needed to be put there, like it's a building that has a lot of work that needs to be done. So whoever's investing on this is going to be spending quite a bit of money to build this. So I doubt that they would invest this type of budget to turn around and not take care of their own building. So, Councillor Knowles?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Would perimeter fencing be required? Is that part of the PAC requirement, like a barrier around the property for privacy, or is that considered? Or
That was not discussed. That issue was not raised and was not discussed.
okay.
All right.
But again, the conditions, perhaps, the conditions at this time are suggested, are recommended to you by the PAC, but Council, you have the opportunity to add any conditions that you may wish.
So that's not there now.
That was never raised.
Okay.
That was never discussed, a fence.
Okay.
Councillor Branch?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to request that council be given a copy of Mr. Bouffard's presentation.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Okay, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Bouffard. Again, as mentioned, on the 20th, it'll be open. We'll have the presentation again. Meanwhile, and then the public will have an opportunity to speak, as well as the owner or the future investor.
And one last comment. Tomorrow, last week we did publish the bylaw on the website, but tomorrow, since now after you saw the condition, we will add the conditions to the bylaw tomorrow. So they will be available on the website until the hearing in 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so the citizens are able to go see it on the website?
Yeah, it was mentioned in on the website last week that come back, there may be some additional information that may be added when available.
All right, Councillor Burnett?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Does there have to be a sign put up on the lot, stipulating the changes? There was a sign put up, I think, before. Is there another sign about the rezoning going to go up?
It's not being rezoned, it's staying the same zoning. They're just adding to they're adding a specification. Allez-y, Monsieur Bouffard.
But in fact, the sign that you have doesn't say what kind of zoning, just say that the property is subject to a rezoning. So if you want information, contact the planning department. But the zoning is not specified. It's a standard sign that the city has. So again, the zoning is not mentioned.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Items and information. Ms. Parker, do we have any administration reports? Oh, wow, okay. I jumped the whole section. Okay, so we're falling, so we have no finances, no municipal bylaws. So we're going to draft resolutions. 9.1, Insurance Renewal BFL, Canada Risk and Insurance Incorporated.
That the insurance renewal for the City of Bathurst be approved for the following policies. 144-0257, P04169869, honorary brokerage, Prop-001, Prop-1001, 10165XS2, 10165XS1, 10165POL, 10049 CGL, and 505-30016, expiring January 1st, 2025, and that the members of council authorize a payment of $567,707, taxes included, payable to BFL Canada Risk and Insurance, Inc.
All right, may I have a mover? Councillor Branch, seconded by Councillor Legacy. Well, before we go to the question, we'll go to Mr. Pettigrew, and then I'll go to the questions at council. Mr. Pettigrew?
Thank you, Worship. This is our annual renewal for insurance. Mr. LaPlante might have some information to compare the previous years to this year, just for an update for comparisons, but we'll go through to Mr. LaPlante.
Okay. Monsieur Laplante?
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. So we do have a bit of an increase to our insurance costs this year. We're looking at an additional roughly $59,000. We have about $23,000 in an increase in our civil liability. That's due to some past claims that we've had, and there's also an increase in about $35,000 for our real property and equipment. So the value of our buildings, vehicles, equipment has increased. Our rates have increased a bit as well, so that brings us a total increase of just under $59,000.
Councillor Knowles?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll withdraw my question. My question's been answered.
Okay. Councillor Willett?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is, this is only for a year, and are we pursuing other tenders since this is going up and been going up all
Mr. Pettigrew?
for the past 3 years or 4 years?
Thank you, Worship. I can tell you that we've had some discussions with municipalities. It's an ongoing process, but definitely we're investigating and looking at all options for the municipality, but I can't provide any updates yet, but definitely we're looking at options and looking in future dealing with insurance.
Because it's getting ridiculous with the price.
Yeah. It's across the board. Our colleagues are having the same discussion, so we'll provide some more information in the future.
Thank you.
All right, so go to the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. On va aller à 9.2, assentiment de servitude municipale de services municipaux numéro 205-18031 et 208-63874. Allez-y, Madame Parker.
Whereas municipal infrastructures are presently installed on the properties having PIDs 2051831 and 208-63874, and whereas the owner agrees with the location of the municipal infrastructures, and whereas the owner agrees to grant a local government service easement to the city, and whereas the location of the local government service easement is identified on the subdivision plan prepared by East Coast Surveys having reference number 8188, and whereas pursuant to the Community Planning Act, Council's assent to the plans for the municipal service easement is required. Now therefore be it resolved that Council assent to the local government services easement identified on the subdivision plan prepared by East Coast Surveys having reference number 8188, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign all related documents on behalf of the city.
All right, so may I have someone to move? Councillor LeBlanc, second by Councillor Scarry. Mr. Pettigrew?
Thank you, Worship. In 1999, the city did some work on Helen Street. At the time, they installed a storm sewer at that time. In recent findings, we determined that there was no municipal service easement in place. So we approached the landowner, and they agreed to provide us a local service easement. And that's a 6-meter wide, roughly 6-meter wide access to allow us to access our storm sewer for repairs. And it was provided by the owner at no cost to the city. So they're happy with the location and granted us the easement.
All right, does council have any questions? No? We'll go to the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. There, we'll go to where I started a while ago. Items of for information. Do we have any reports from administration?
There are no reports from administration, and there are no reports from committees.
Perfect, okay. Before we go to the adjournment, I just wanted to take a quick minute to talk about the warming center for the homelessness that put together over the holidays. We met on December 21st, and I'm really happy to say that the temporary center became operational on January 10th. And that would not have been doable without the youth center that has the contract for it, social development, and the city of Bathurst. So thank you to Councillor LeBlanc, Councillor Willett for being part of the committee. So we were able to find a temporary solution, but the committee is presently trying to find a permanent location for next winter. Right now it's located at 753 Assoff. The number to reach is 546-8719. I'm very happy to say that Leon's Furniture has actually donated a washer and a dryer. And I heard that the Rotary Club is getting involved as well, talking about backpacks and kits. So it's nice to see that the community is getting together, and we have the nonprofit organizations and Leon. But if anybody knows of any building or any facility that we could use, because this is a temporary location, and when we open on January 10th, within the 1 week, it's pretty much at its full capacity. So it's working very well. It's an opportunity for them to wash their clothes, stay warm, have something to eat, and they even have internet if they do have a phone with them. So it's nice. The committee is working really well together, but we are trying to find a solution for a permanent section. So if anybody out there has any ideas, by all means, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to listen. We'll go to the adjournment of the meeting.
That the regular public meeting be adjourned at 7:28 p.m.
All right, so may I have Councillor Branch, seconded by Councillor Knowles. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Oppose? Motion carried. Have a great evening, everyone.